Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here, checking out the series. You know what to do. Like what you see, what you hear, hit that subscribe button. I do 3 new interviews every single week, new every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover some new ones anywhere in podcast land, iTunes, Apple Podcast, at Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, WFPK.org, or of course, right here on YouTube for the video versions. I'm Kyle Meredith. Today, my guest, actor Brendan Hunt. We're going to be talking about the 3rd season of Ted Lasso. Maybe the final season, maybe not. We're midway through as we conduct this interview, and Brendan and I get to talk about his portrayal of Coach Beard, which, you know, if you follow Ted Lasso in the series, you might have your favorites, and you know, maybe it switches from time to time, but I think Coach Beard's my favorite. Maybe my favorite character. I love what he does. I love that he goes on these excursions, and sometimes we have no clue what he's done, but you get these little breadcrumbs, you know, these little hints, and it sounds like these crazy outlandish stories. I mean, he did get one of his episodes back in the previous season, and if you saw the sunflowers episode, we also call it Amsterdam. I feel like there is a whole backstory on where he went during that episode that we may never fully understand, but I am going to ask Brendan about exactly that. We're going to talk about the 3rd season. We're going to talk about the expectations from us, the fans, and how that's landing on them as not just the actors, but as the writers as well. I want to bring up some of the music choices. There was a duet on a Kenny Rogers song during this season, but there's been some great musical moments all throughout the series. So I'm going to hear about that as well. And lots more. So let's just jump straight into it. We're talking season 3 of Ted Lasso. It's Kyle Meredith with Brendan Hunt. Hi, Brendan.
Hey, Kyle.
We're halfway through the season right now. It is everything that I've hoped it would be. I'm so happy you guys could, you know, without the monoculture that we used to have. I think it's so rare that that people are investing so much time into one show. Halfway through, are you guys starting to feel like a little bit of the pressure? Because I feel like people are counting on you all.
Well, I mean, the show's already made. We can't change course now. So pressure schmesher. No, I mean, it's out there. Halfway. Then the back half, we think is good. We may come to find we were wrong, but you just have to wait and see.
I will say, you know, hearing you all talking about, you know, especially around the 2nd season, that darker before the dawn sort of scenario right there. I felt like once we got into this one, like everything, like you're really making us work for it, I think is what I was getting to right there.
Yeah, maybe. But things were going down in 4 and 5, but there seems to have been some kind of change in 6. We'll see what that change brings about.
All right. Well, coming off of a Sunflowers in Amsterdam, one of my favorite episodes of this entire season. Really, seriously, was absolutely beautiful. I know you had a lot to do with it, some of the writing on that too. And it was a damn movie. I think that's also why, you know, as a greedy fan, we got a little bit of that. My question, is there a script for the Piggy Stardust adventure?
Is that the spinoff you want?
That's, you know, look, I'm flanked by him. It's just coincidence here, but I've got Bowie over my shoulder.
Sure, I don't see any pig noses. I don't see any pig noses. You put some pig noses on there, and we'll talk about a spinoff.
I would say, for, you know, as a writer, is that ever tempting? Like, you know, you have these small ideas just to chase down those rabbit holes.
I mean, that is what Ted Lasso is in the long run. I mean, it was just kind of something thrown together for an ad campaign, and look at us now. I definitely believe in rabbit holes. I mean, you know, the Amsterdam episode is meant to touch on a bunch of things that can happen to anyone in Amsterdam. Finding creativity, finding yourself, finding a friend on a bike ride. But it's also specific to certain things I did and found in my time there. And one thing I did was I got a band together and I Aladdin Saned out, and we performed the entire Ziggy Stardust album. So that was a nod to that. And then at the last minute, Jason goes, and a pig nose. Like, and a pig nose. All right. And a pig nose? Oh, you got one. Okay, great. And now we're one half-hour writing session away from a spinoff.
I'm here for it. I am. But that also brings up all those other questions. Like, I know it's been the whole like, oh, are we really ending after this season? That whole thing. Like when you've got something like this, could you ever see yourself playing Coach Beard outside of the series?
I don't know. I mean, there are so many ways you could go, in this hypothetical spinoff world, but Beard is the only character who is truly defined by his proximity to another character. So I'm not sure that would make sense. As much as that pains me financially to say, don't think it'll work.
But there's so much wonder and curiosity. His relationship with Jane, like I have this question about Coach Beard. Like, for someone who seems to always be a little bit at odds, even with himself, with his own intellectual self, like, can he ever be happy?
Yeah, I think he can. I think everyone can, as long as they know who they are. I mean, I think he is happy. In fact, I think they're just certain voices that will be coming up every now and again that they're just going to come up now and again. But I think that's kind of true for everyone. Like, we shouldn't be thinking about happiness as an elimination of bad feelings or memories or thoughts. Happiness is what happens around those things, and recognizing that, bad thoughts and bad memories are also finite, and getting through them, putting them behind you, knowing that there's still more coming. Just being able to compartmentalize in that way is about as close to happiness as I personally would expect to get. And I suspect it's true for Beard too, because I know him well.
Well, that's to spend this much time with a character too. Do you find that it gets closer to yourself as you go on throughout seasons? Like, what might start as a fictional person, like Ziggy, Piggy Stardust, maybe being one of those things.
Yeah, I mean, he's always had a lot of me in him, and it's just starting to leak out. I speak a little Dutch. I have in the past shown a proclivity for toxic relationships. I know the rules of soccer better than most of my friends. So yeah, we're just shaking that particular jar and seeing which crumbs hit the floor.
Well, I'll wrap with this one too. The music moments in here are so good. I know we got the Kenny Rogers song, the little duet in there. Brian Eno with Emerald and Stone, Spiritualized Ice Cube. How do you land on the songs? And is that part of the writing process of knowing what you want for that moment?
You try not to get too attached to a song for a particular moment in a script. Quentin Tarantino, if I recall correctly, has a trick where he will name a song similar to the song that he actually wants. Because if you write down that you really want that song, then the price goes up for that song as soon as they read it. But we have, a really good conveyor belt of people with good opinions of music that these things go through. So I'll have pitches in there. Joe will as well. Our fantastic music supervisor, Tony Von Purview, or as we call him, the MVP TVP, will get in there. Our editors have great thoughts. And then in the end, Jason chooses. Yeah, that has seemed to be, a pretty good series of sentinels on that process.
Well, that's another part that I love it. Brendan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about it. I love what you guys are doing.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for the kind words about the Amsterdam episode. That was a special one.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All three of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.